It's often said that one of the best things you can do to improve your photography is get out and travel. It's not always possible. And if you've been following me on Weekly 50 for any length of time, you know that I really like exploring where I am, my backyard or the campus I work at Oklahoma State University or the city or local areas. But it's really nice to get out and travel and see things you don't normally see. And one of the best things about that is you see things that are familiar to other people but are new to you, and thus present unique and interesting photo opportunities like this here. So we don't have cactus plants where I live. Every now and then you'll see one, but it's just not a thing in central Oklahoma. And so I don't see them very often. And it's just not something that I come into contact with. But when we traveled to Great Sand Dunes National Park, there were cacti all over the place, and it was super cool. Now, to the locals, it's probably just super normal, and they might even be kind of a nuisance at times if you're walking along and you step on a cactus plant. Like it probably gets to that sense of familiarity rapidly when you live out there. But to me, because I don't live out in the mountains of Colorado, I don't see things like this and on a regular basis, and it is new and fresh and interesting for me, period, but also from a photography perspective. I look at this and I see a really cool scene to photograph because it's not part of my normal daily experience. Someone who lives here would be like, oh, more cacti. And that's fine because that person would probably come to where I live and think, wow, look at all these cool things to photograph. So that's one of the best things about getting out and traveling is you see things in a whole new light that are different from your daily lived experience that present interesting, fun, unique photo opportunities. Whereas someone else who lives there, wherever you're traveling to, might have a totally different mindset about these familiar things. And that's fine. Like it's part of the magic of photography. Now, when I took this photo, there are things I wish I could have or would have done differently. Number one, it was very, very buggy. We visited after a rain, and there was just mosquitoes all over the place. I haven't seen mosquitoes this bad in a long time. So I had like pants, a long sleeve shirt, a hat, and even then I was just getting bitten up by these mosquitoes. So I was walking outside our Airbnb. I mean, come on, this is a footpath right outside the rental house we stayed at. So it's not like this is some super exotic scene that no one would ever come across out there. It's pretty common. And I wanted to take a picture of these, but I was just frustrating with all the mosquitoes around. Also, I had to get low on the ground to take this, but I couldn't lay down on the ground, or I didn't want to. And I don't have a flip out screen on my Fuji X100F, which is the camera I had with me. If I had a different camera, maybe I could have used like my D750 with a flip out screen to compose this shot. So it's fine. I'm not trying to, I think there's things I would have done differently if I had taken a little more time, maybe brought a different camera with me, or certainly had fewer mosquitoes. I think the mosquitoes, it's hard to overstate. It sounds like I'm just complaining, but it was so buggy out there. It was really hard to just take 5 minutes and really compose a considered bespoke image. But that's okay. I shot this at f4 on the Fuji. I think it was ISO 400. I was probably using auto ISO, so it doesn't really matter because there's plenty of light. Ended up with about 1,000th of a second. So the exposure doesn't really matter except for f4. I wanted to get some depth of field without being too much depth of field. I find that good compromise. So overall, I'm very happy with this. And this is a good reminder of why it's important to travel. But maybe I guess the lesson here is be prepared for mosquitoes or just bring some bug spray. I don't know.